So season 19 begins as our first full season as the Sweden and Norrköping manager. Obviously, we took over from the previous manager. I can't even remember who it was last season, and we were in charge of Sweden. We have already played a few games, and we did quite well. I don't think I actually mentioned this possibly in the last episode, but basically we won the European League Division B, Group 4, whatever this nonsense is. We won 5, we lost 1 match. So we've started off our job as the Sweden manager pretty well. This season we have World Cup qualifiers, which means next season, season 20, will be a World Cup year, assuming we can get out of this group with Hungary, Lithuania, Turkey and Wales. I think we should be fine. Going back to Norrköping, however, we have been talking to the board. We need to make sure that we get our best facilities sorted out, so training facilities, youth facilities, junior coaching budgets and all that kind of thing. And you can see here are the things I have requested in the last, I guess, 2 seasons, technically, not even 2 seasons. All of these started in December 2040, so in the last maybe 3 months, we are expanding the stadium. We'll get to that in a minute. It's ridiculous. We have increased our junior coaching budget. We're improving our youth and training facilities. We've also increased our recruitment analyst wages. That wasn't something I wanted them to do. They just said, hey, do you want to do it? On Christmas Day, apparently. What a lovely present that is. And also, our youth recruitment has been improved, which means we have gone across the board and improved everything. The stadium is just utterly ridiculous. They're expanding it by 50 seats. Why? What's the point? It's cost about £100,000 to put 50 seats in. Why? What a waste of money. Anyway, obviously it is the start of a new season. Last time around in the league, we were champions for a second successive season, back-to-back champions. Can we make it 3 out of 3? We have returned on the 7th of February, which is a little bit later than we normally would, because I'm an idiot and click continue a few times. But that does mean we've got a few more transfers to talk about. 4 players have joined the club. And 3 have left the club. Mika Lovgren is the first one. He has moved on to Bromos on a free transfer because his contract expired and he didn't want to extend, which is fair enough because we never actually played him. Martin Moises has also left the club, returning to his native Portugal to sign for Maritimo. We didn't play him much at all. He did get the odd game, but most of them were actually kind of, I was going to say off the bench. They weren't off the bench. He was like a backup. When we had injuries, that's when he came in. He's gone for 350, possibly going to 425. And then for a whopping £7 million, Tobias Gustafsson has moved over to RB Leipzig and returned on loan for the season. He's not played for us at all. We've loaned him out a few times, not even playing in the Allsvenskan, in the Premier Division of Sweden. We loaned him out a few times. He's played a lot of football for Sundsvall and Falkenbergs. They spent £7 million on him. I've loaned him back and I don't really know why. Because like I said, we don't play him. And we have not reinvested the money just yet. We might reinvest the money. We've brought in 4 players, 2 permanents and 2 loans so far. Foppa Maveng is the first one, an 18-year-old Cameroon defensive midfielder. He's a defensive midfielder in my eyes, not really a centre-back. So we have brought him in on a free transfer from Canon Yuande. Another free transfer is Cedric Dago. This one I think is very good. He got released at the end of his contract with Hacken and I went, you know what, he's too good to turn down. Yes, he is on nearly £17,000 a week, but for a 27 years of age, Ivory Coast international centre-back, and he's ridiculously good quality. He is probably our best player right now. I could not turn this opportunity down. Player number 3 joining is Tobias Gustafsson. Yeah, it's not really that exciting. We've literally just spoke about him. And also we have loaned in from Napoli, Renzo Pinas. His name is, his name is funny. I'm nearly 40 years of age and his name is still funny. He is a 21-year-old Dutch under-21 international defensive midfielder. He's come in to be a squad player, but I think he's actually going to be a pretty good squad player for a season. And that's the transfer business so far. Obviously, we are on the 7th of February, so the window is still open for a mighty, mighty long time. We have got £28 million in the bank, £17 million transfer budget to spend. We've also played a few more matches. In the Champions League, we have qualified for the knockout round, where we'll be playing Real Madrid, a Real Madrid side that we drew 1-1 with, and the Spurs side that we drew 2-2 with. We basically did kind of all right, I guess, in the Champions League. So we're going to jump forward to the end of the winter transfer window, the pre-season transfer window. We're obviously going to find out what happens in the Real Madrid games, what happens in the Swedish Cup as well, and obviously the big news, what happens when it comes to transfers. And there's not going to be any Sweden games just yet. So yeah, see you in a sec. Okay, well, that was a lie, wasn't it? We've actually played one Sweden game. We have played against Hungary in the World Cup qualifiers and beaten them 5-2. Robin Asp, Hugo Larsson, Rooney Bargi, and Johan Leinard with the goals in this one. I will mention this now. When it comes to the Sweden job, I'm not really doing anything. I'm not picking any of the players. I'm not doing anything like that. What I am going to try and do, though, is convince some of my former players who could play for Sweden if they want to play for Sweden. I'm going to try and do that. Mikey Moore being a prime example of this. But I'm literally leaving this up to my assistant manager to do absolutely everything. We are playing the formation that we play for Norrköping, and that's literally it. Speaking of Norrköping, in the Champions League, we managed to squeeze past Real Madrid 3-2 in the second leg and then winning on penalties. We then move forward to the round of 16, where we lose to our feeder club, Napoli, after beating them. No, we didn't beat them. We lost 1-0 and we lost 6-2. Okay, I thought we beat them 2-0 for some reason, because I can't work out how maths works. But we got to the round of 16. Getting past Real Madrid is really, really good. I want to have a quick look in the Europa League. There is no Swedish teams. Europa Conference League, no Swedish teams in the quarter-final. They didn't even get... Did they get through? So Mjällby managed to get through to the knockout rounds, or the playoffs, and lost AZ. And that was it. What about in the Europa Conference League? Helsingborg losing to Lech in the round of 16. I imagine that's probably it, isn't it? We're not doing too well when it comes to Europe. It's a bit of a concern. Bromos-Brashkana finishing 25th. 25th? That's awful. It's literally goal difference. They literally missed out on goal difference. Anyway, obviously, transfer window has opened. Transfer window has closed. Let's have a quick look at the finances. We've still got £17 million to spend. What did we do? We sold Teko to Djurgårdens for not a lot of money, but the fact that he stayed in Sweden, I think, was a beneficial thing to do. £82,000, possibly. Andreas Andersson has also left the club. He has stayed in Sweden and signed for Sirius for £15,500. And a whole bunch of loan deals like Emil Fotso, who's moved over on loan to Landskrona for the rest of the season. He needs game time to develop, and he's hopefully going to be getting that playing for Landskrona. We have brought in 2 players, and both of them were on free transfers, and both of them, I think, are very, very good players. Naira Traslavinia is a 23-year-old Colombian under 23 international signed on a free transfer after his contract, I believe, at America de Cali was, his contract expired. He had a 1-year deal, and then his contract expired. We picked him up on a free transfer. I think he's going to walk straight into the first team, and another player who I think should do the same. And that is William Quay, England international William Quay, 26 years of age, 14 caps, 1 goal to his name. He's a right winger and a right back, and I think we might be deploying him as a right back for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know where the best place to put Quay is, but we've got him in on a free transfer. Contract at Palace expired. He's an England international. Is he still in the England squad, by the way? An England squad managed by Ronnie Dahlia. Fair enough. He's not still in the England squad. Okay, well, the fact that we've got a former England international is pretty good to me. And that is it for our transfers. When it comes to the squad that we're locking in, just 2 players are being locked in. William is one of them, being locked in as the attacking midfielder. Obviously, last time around, had a very, very good year, 26 goals in all competitions. This time around, I'd like to see something more of the same. So William will be playing in that attacking midfield position. And Julius Brown will be on the right-hand side still. Last season, we had to lock him in there because basically William kicked him out of his normal position. And Brown did, again, pretty good job, much like William did. Not as well as when he was playing as that attacking midfielder role, but he did get 16 goals and 18 assists in all competitions. Speaking of competitions, by the way, yes, we're in the Swedish Cup final. Last year, we won the Swedish Cup. The year before that, we were second place. Are we going to win back-to-back Swedish Cups? We're obviously in the final up against Djurgårdens, a team that I think we should be easily good enough to beat. Oh, and our 50 seats at Nyaparken has been completed. So yeah, we're now 16,050 capacity with 10,800 seats. The moment those 50 seats were complete, I then went back to the board and said, now do a proper job and expand it. And they have agreed. The problem is, we don't really know what they're doing. They've just agreed to do it. I can't find the news article, but I think they're doing about 25,000 capacity stadium, which will be really, really good, because I think we should be able to sell that out, in particular when we're doing Champions League matches. That should be a sellout almost guaranteed. So next thing to do then is to jump forward to the next transfer window. Obviously the season has not kicked off just yet, but I'm hoping for a good start. The big thing though for our national side is we're going to play Turkey in like 2 days' time. Literally, the being an international manager sounds like a great idea until you realise you only play like 8 matches every single season, and that will probably take you a few hours to do. So anyway, we're going to jump forward to see whether we beat Turkey and what happens in the Swedish league. Well, we've actually played 2 matches with our Sweden international side, beating Turkey 3-1. Asp Bargi and Ole Jakobsen with the goals. But however, the second match was up against Wales, who seem to be a bit of a bogey team at the moment. We have lost 1-0 against Wales. What does it mean for the group? We are currently sat second place in the table on 6 points, joint with Turkey, 3 points behind table toppers Wales. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we should be able to go through even if we finish in second place. So there'll be a group of 5 teams. I don't know. Yeah, we might get through. I don't know yet. In the Allsvenska, however, things are just as bad. I say bad, it's not bad at all, is it? We are currently sat third place in the table with an extra game played over literally everybody around us. And we are, 3 points behind Malmo. We are 1 point behind Djurgården, so 2 teams ahead of us. Joint on points with Elfsborg, 2 points clear of Häcken, and 3 points clear of Kalmar. So, it's not awful, is it? It's certainly not awful. We've not really done amazingly well. We've kind of lost some bad games that we really shouldn't have been losing. The BK Häcken won, Elfsborg won there, AIK and Mjällby. So 4 match defeats. It's not good. A draw with Landskrona also not a good result either. Obviously, we're still just over or just under the halfway point of the season, so still plenty of football to go. We are also, obviously, in a transfer window. A transfer window that, as of yet, has not had any business done, but financially, we've now got £19 million to spend. And they still haven't decided what they're doing with the stadium. So let's see what we can do with this £19 million. Will we manage to do anything at all? I think we should be able to do some half-decent business with £19 million. From a Sweden perspective, I don't believe we're going to be playing anything, because I think we come back around the 1st of September, so we won't see any of the next 5 matches until at the very end of our regular season. And I think at that point, we will know, yes, we will know whether we have qualified for the World Cup in Season 20. 21 games have been played and we are still sat in third place. We're now 10 points behind Mjällby, who have done some ridiculous business over the last few matches by the looks of it, because they were like 7th or 8th in the table, and then they've just flown up the league. What's happened? Have they just won absolutely everything? Yes, they won absolutely everything. Fair enough. We are obviously also in the Champions League. Nothing is kicked off just yet. I completely ignored the fact that we are back-to-back Swedish Cup winners. I don't know how I ignored this, but I did for some reason, because I'm a clown. And we've only brought in one player, and that is Swedish under-21 international Alexander Green, signed from Manchester United, a defensive midfielder, or who will be a defensive midfielder. He's cost £400,000, which is not a lot of money. He was born in Sweden, but he is English, apparently, as well. He came through the Man United youth system quite a few seasons ago, but yeah, £400,000, that is it. I think we've got ourselves a half-decent footballer. He needs a bit of development time, but 4-star potential according to my coaches. I'm going to try and force that out of him, because I am locking him in as that defensive midfielder. It might not be a good idea, but we're going to go for it. Also, we are locking in Maximiliano Martinez as our goalkeeper for the second half of the season. The first half was actually Durbal, I believe, was our number 1 goalkeeper for the first half of the season, so we've just switched it up for the second part. Oh, and one big transfer left the club. William Quay, who we signed on a free transfer. He played 13 times for us, scored a goal, has moved back over to England, signing for Fulham for £8.25 million, possibly going up to $10 million in the Championship. That's ridiculous, and the fact that we've just had him for literally half a season, not even half a season, and we've made £10 million profit is madness. And that's literally it from a players leaving the club perspective. There has been some loan deals that might be of interest. So Moveng, I believe, is one that wasn't out on loan and is now. Brunel is going out on loan. Gazozo, a player who I think is good. He just needs to play more football. Whenever he goes out on loan, he never seems to play. I need to get him a loan to a team that actually plays him. Taking a quick look then at the Champions League fixtures, we have Dunstreda of, I want to say Slovakia, it is Slovakia. Feyenoord, we've got Inter, Barcelona, Nice, Sporting, and then in next season it is Napoli and Juve. The fact that we seem to be playing Napoli a lot at the moment worries me. I mean, I've clicked the previous thing. We've beaten them once, and then we've lost them twice. And the fact that we've got to play them again. Oh, Napoli seem to be a bogey team, and also they're a feeder club of ours, which is annoying. Well, I guess the only thing to do now is jump forward to the end of the season, where we will see, will we become 3-time winners of the Swedish Premier Division? How well will we do in the Champions League? And also, more importantly, will we qualify for a World Cup with our first qualifying campaign in charge of Sweden? We're currently at second place in Group I. Can we get through? Let's find out. We have qualified by winning the group. Wales have also managed to go through, so 6 wins we had in the end. Lithuania 5-0, Wales 4-2, Hungary 4-1, Lithuania again a 4-2, 3-1 against Turkey and a 5-2 against Hungary. 2 defeats, Wales and Turkey just 1-0s though. So I imagine that's probably why we've managed to win the group, because when we lose, we don't lose badly at all. And there, just in case you're wondering, Wales qualified because they were the 4th best of the 10 second place sides. So I'd feel bad for Ukraine because they were 1 point off. But I guess this is how it works. And I'm just glad that we have qualified for our first World Cup. A World Cup, by the way, that we don't know what's going to go on until way into next season. So we're not even going to find out what happens or who's in our group or anything until probably just before the World Cup starts, I guess. From a Norrköping perspective, we are currently sat 10th place in the Champions League group, which is very good. 3 wins, Sporting, Nice and Dunstred, big wins as well. A draw against Inter, defeat against Barcelona and Feyenoord. Obviously, we've got Juve and Napoli still to play. A Napoli side who are up in 6th and a Juve side who are down in 20th. But the more frustrating, annoying, good, I don't quite understand. I say understand, I do understand. I'm not quite sure how to classify this because in a way this is good. Mjällby have won the league. Partially, I feel like because of our involvement. I'm saying that because Hidalgo, a player that we signed, got 10 assists for them to help them win the league. That's very good. They've qualified for the Champions League. Djurgårdens have also qualified for the Champions League. We have finished in 3rd place, qualifying for the Europa League. A Europa League that I think we could win. Hear me out. I think we could win that. We are doing pretty well when it comes to the Champions League. We are getting through to the knockout stages at the moment, so I'm happy with that. If we drop down in terms of standard and quality of competition in Europe, we should be able to go a little bit further. Quarterfinals, semi-finals, maybe even a final, or maybe even winning it. So I'm kind of happy with this. I'm also happy with the fact that Mjällby actually won the league as well. Something that I did change actually for the starting lineup, by the way, for the second part of the season, is I stuck Flavio in on that right-hand side instead of Julius Brown. His contract was expiring. He didn't want to sign a new one because basically I wasn't playing him. So I went, you know what, you're good enough. Let's give you some game time on the right-hand side. I wanted to play him up front, but Nunes, he's far too good as a striker. 20 goals for us this season. He's been good every single year so far for us. Nearly 80 goals in 115 appearances. So Flavio playing on the right-hand side. William playing down the middle. He's done very well. Green, has he improved? A little bit. Maybe not quick enough. And Martinez, has he improved? He's getting there. I don't know whether you've noticed this, but I'm really struggling to find a goalkeeper that works for this Norrköping side. I say Norrköping, for any of these teams in Sweden, I'm really struggling to find a goalkeeper, which means in season 20, I'm probably going to sign 4 more goalkeepers, because that's probably what I'm going to do. Just be honest with me. That's what I'm going to do, and you know that's what I'm going to do. We do have £20 million to spend, though. Do we buy a really good goalkeeper, or do we just buy somebody cheap and hope they develop? It's option 2. It's definitely option 2. So that's going to do it then for season 19 with Norrköping. Unfortunately, we did not win the league, but we have qualified for a World Cup with our Sweden side, which means season 20, we need to try and win the league again. We need to see how well we can do in the Europa League, and we need to basically do as well as humanly possible in our first competition in charge of Sweden.